What do y'all think of Henry Cavill as
Yo,
Garrosh?
what is going on, people? It is Saturday night and next podcast is live. Guys, I have been doing work all day trying to get the gameplay together and stuff. I gotta say, I am really excited for tonight's show. Not only are we gonna go down the panel and try to get some EXO predictions, because guess what, guys? The show is actually next weekend. It is right around the corner. I can't wait. We're going to go in and talk about that. We're going to talk about Red Dead Redemption 2 and a little thing that I've seen in the community with a certain feature called HDR. We got a couple more like awesome topics planned. I'm really excited, but guys, we can't get into it without doing the intros, and I'm going to save our special guest for last because, again, this is going to be a great show. So let's start with the man who is a professional with the gaming tactical baton, Knoxximus!
Yo, what's really good, everybody, man? Great to be here, B. I can't wait to get into these topics, B. Got our special guest, Enrique, in the house. Let's get it popping. Got our regulars. Let's go.
Nice, man. And I saw it, like, dude, you've been dropping content on your channel. Dude, I've seen you in just about, like, every chat, Xbox Nation, Crossfire. People really digging your content as well and hanging out with you, man.
I'm glad, man. I'm really glad because that's why I put it out there. You know what I mean? I like having fun doing it. I really enjoyed making the latest episode. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and do so. In Knox We Trust. Go check that out, my channel. And I enjoy that, man. So I'm glad that it makes that people find enjoyment in it, bro.
Nice, brother. And we are gonna go next on the list. This guy will be on 3 shows in 2 days. He is doing that gaming overtime work, and he's doing it for you guys there in the community. My brother, K Mega!
What's happening, everybody? Back here yet again, doing what I do the best, and that's talk them facts, talk a little trash. And hey, his name is Zoltan.
Yes, Zoltan.
That's
thank you.
Zoltan.
Thank you.
Zoltan. Yeah, that was gonna stop me too. That's anyway. Zoltan from The Witcher 3.
That's a good.
Not only was he a little person, but he also had he must have had like a rough time in school with a name like that and being.
Oh, he's a rough character.
Zoltan's the man.
He's like Garrett's like true right hand man. Like he puts it down, except for the other Witcher that's up there in the
Well, yeah, you got.
But that
Vesemir, you got Vesemir and Lambert.
Wow.
Dandelion has always been kind of shady, but anyway, no, I'm glad to be here, man. As always, vote for K Mega and his gameplay. You know what I'm saying? Hope y'all enjoy it. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be putting a little bit of Red Dead. I decided not to. I wanted to keep it fresh, so let's get through it. And and don't vote for Pred shit.
As you can see, the gameplay winner is playing right now from last week, which is me. I humbly accept, winning the poll last week. I appreciate it.
You got it. That's cool.
But guys, I hope you can see we also kind of I retweaked the whole look of the show. I hope you guys like it. Made it. I feel like it's a lot more. It's a lot cleaner now. It looks like there's a lot more space, and I hope you guys like that. But let's move on down the list, and of course, the man who again is coming to a live show, live from the Taj Mahal, because he is rich in the gaming community. I made myself laugh for a second, but Predator.
Hey, what's going on, man? Hopefully this echo doesn't bother everybody too much today. But I guess I just need to get some more furniture in here or something to make it sound normal and not so fucking hollow in this motherfucker. But I'm glad to be back, man. Another week, and next week I know it's going to be a fire-ass podcast. But, let's get it going, man. Welcome, Enrique, and fuck him again.
Yeah, there we go. And I might have jumped over a couple words because I'm really excited to introduce our special guest. Coming live from the Basement Radio Arcade Podcast for the first time here on Next Podcast. Please welcome Enrique!
Hey man, I gotta say I love the intros, man. Love the enthusiasm, and you know what? I'm really, really excited, happy to be on. First time on the next podcast. So Xbox, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it. Look forward to hitting some of these topics, man. I think we have some great topics tonight to discuss.
Yeah, dude. You can tell when a show is really going to be good when you have quality gamers coming together to talk gaming news. I know Enrique, you saw it, man. As soon as we all got together, we just started talking about
Yeah.
what we were going to talk about before we went live. I was like, man, come on, guys, we can't do this, man.
No, we did, man. We were hitting up some of those topics right away.
Well, dude, before we get into the topics, for people in the chat, people who check out this show afterwards, I consider you like the moderator, the leader of, like I said, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. So why don't you let people who are checking this out, let them know what this show is, and let them know like what made you decide to go in and do a live gaming podcast, because I feel like the reasoning is different for every show, and it's always interesting, man.
Yeah, for me it was look, I've been playing video games for like 36 years. I'm not 50. I'm not that old, but I grew look, I put it to you this way. I grew up playing video games at the age of 5 on the Atari.
Mm-hmm.
And so, gaming's been a passion of mine for such a long time. And so I just decided, people were doing podcasts, and I said, you know what, I want to do this. And I had the opportunity to be a guest co-host on Next Level Gaming podcast. And then from there, I said, you know what, I kind of want to do my own thing. I want to start a podcast and just talk about video games with different gamers, get different perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
talk to some industry folks. Like I had David Jaffe on my podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, David Jaffe's hilarious. He's a wild dude, man. But he gave us a lot of insight into God of War and Twisted Metal.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some journalists on. We had Greg Kasavin from Super Giant Games on, and so I really wanted to connect with people in the industry, the community, and that's why I created Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, and I got the name because I was podcasting in my basement and I couldn't think of another name. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this shit in my basement. I'm just gonna call it Basement Radio Arcade, because I also grew up playing video games in the arcade. Like that's how we used to game back in the days too. Like if you didn't have a home console, you'd go to the arcades.
I cut class to go to the arcades, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to go down to the corner store like maybe a block and a half from my house. I think I was saying it either it was Crossfire or it was Xbox Nation this past week. I've been on so many shows, they're all blurring together. But dude, yeah, putting the quarters up. All the kids in the neighborhood used to just be in this one corner store. Nobody could move. Nobody could buy anything after school let out, man.
Yeah, and that's how we grew up, man. Like putting quarters down, playing Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you remember when the dude would roll up on you? Yo, can I get your next man? Can I get the next man?
Yep.
Man, get out of here! You got the next quarter?
Yeah, put the quarter up,
get out of
man.
here.
Put the quarter.
And I remember that. I remember the cat just walking in, you're hearing all the sounds, the explosions, you're seeing the lights and everything, and that was my my childhood growing up. So and so that really went into the name Basement Radio Arcade. So I've been doing this like two and a half years now, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty much kind of like next podcast. If you look at we're episode 113 already, man, and I still can't believe it. I remember the first day. I remember like how nervous I was. I had to be the one doing all the hitting all the switches, making sure everything was working properly. It was crazy, man. And to see, dude, it's so much fun. And I think me and you can definitely agree on this, that we are gamers to the point where it just flies by. You do the show every week. You get excited for the show every week, and before you know it, man, you're hitting like the century mark and beyond, dude.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. Like we just hit our last podcast this week was episode like 131, man.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I will say from the next podcast, we hope nothing but the best. I love seeing such a wide range of podcasts out there. Everybody in the chat, there is a link to the YouTube channel. in the description below. Do yourself a favor when you get a chance. Definitely click on that and hit that sub button. But for now, we got to get into the topics, and I'm gonna get into something that I feel everybody has an interest in. And that would be the complete list of classic PlayStation games that are coming out on their mini PlayStation system. Now, guys, check this out. I mean, we're talking about Battle Arena Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy 7, Grand Theft Auto, the original, which is the over-the-head view, the over-the-top view. That I used to be into those, like, insanely, right? Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, Mr. Driller, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Rayman, Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations, Persona. Yeah, come on, I'm trying to make this sound as exciting as I could. Hold on, let me get through the list. Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, which I know K Mega got something to say about that. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, Wild Arms. I'm gonna go to our guest first, and then I'm gonna let the panel go in on this as well. But Enrique, I gotta ask you, what do you think about these 20 games? I believe the mini systems, it's $100. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, you're right. It's $100.
Mm-hmm. Two controllers as well, or just one? My bad.
I don't. I think it's just. Is it? I think it's two.
I think it's two. I think it's two. But go ahead. What do you think about this list, man?
For me, it's a little underwhelming. I mean, it's okay. But it's a little underwhelming considering that there's a lot of games that are not on that list that I would consider some of the best PlayStation 1 games. Like, I don't think there's no Gran Turismo 2 on there. That should be on there. Final Fantasy 9 is not on there. That should be on there. And like Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. Like, why isn't that a game on there? Like, that was one of my favorite PlayStation 1 games.
That is a great point right there. Now, out of what I said, are there any games there that you think we're gonna take off? Kind of like we're gonna switch hats every once in a while, Enrique. So we're gonna take off the gamer hat right now. We're gonna think business wise. Do you feel like there's any games in here that will hook an audience and like kind of like make this piece of hardware successful, man?
Oh man, maybe Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy 7, maybe Destruction Derby.
Dude, you don't sound too confident on this at all right now, man.
I mean, if I think about like the big hits there, Siphon Filter, Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy 7.
Big.
To me, I
was gonna say Siphon Filter to me is huge. That to me that is the one hook here that's gonna get a lot of like PlayStation fans, because talking about the PlayStation 4, I hear there's a pretty big piece of the community that wants another Siphon Filter, and this would be a way for them to get their fix, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us were hoping, a lot of gamers were hoping for Sony Benz to put out, the next Siphon Filter, and they end up doing Days Gone. So, I mean, yeah, I could see a lot of like fans going back and being, nostalgic over Siphon Filter, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer. I'm just not really sold on the list, though. I'm not, like I said, there's a lot of other games that I would have loved to seen. Like, I don't care about Ridge Racer. Tekken 3 is okay. I don't care about Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Twisted Metal's good. Wild Arms I don't care about. I just feel like there's so many other games that they could have loaded onto this to make this worthwhile. I mean, like, I have the NES Classic, and that game is stacked. I mean, that console is stacked with Legend of Zelda, the Adventure Link, Metroid, Kid Icarus, the Mario Brothers games. I mean, that to me is how a classic console should look, or should come with games that are just the best of the best for that console generation. And I feel like they kind of missed the boat here.
I got you, man. Now, with that being said, I know we'll say things like, it doesn't look that great, and then day one, as gamers, I know a lot of us will still be in line. So are you gonna pick up the classic PlayStation, man.
No. No, I'm not going to, because I will take my $100 and use it in something else, man. And not that I don't think this thing's not going to sell well. I think nostalgia is a hell of a drug. I think a lot of people are going to pick this thing up, but I'm just not going to be one of them. I'd rather spend $100 on something else.
All right, I got you, man. Let's move on to the panel here. I did talk about K Mega a little bit in terms of the Tekken 3. I also think he'll get in on Wild Arms as well. Mega, what do you think about this complete list, man? Is this do you have the $100 in your hand? You're ready to go out there day one and pick this up, brother?
No, I'll just turn on my PC. That's it. I'm just not. It has no true significance for me to pay $100 just for 20 PlayStation 1 games. I mean, we have to understand that these games aren't remastered. They don't age well. I mean, it's surprising that Tekken 3.
Dude, it's a bad generation in terms of looks. I mean, let's be honest. Like, just getting
kind
into
of like the
3D.
birth of the 3D era.
Yes.
And so like, I mean, but also the list of games, they're not very satisfying to me. There's some great ones in there, like Battle Reno Toshinden. You know how much I'm into fighters. Ridge Racer 4. I can't believe my boy just sit there and said that he's not too excited about that, because I mean, just the music alone, I you know what I'm saying, it makes me want to play Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer. I love that music, man. I love that soundtrack to Ridge Racer 4. But but there was some other, I think there was a lot of misses as well. I mean, what happened to the original Gran Turismo? Why is that not in there? Yeah. I mean, you look at games, I understand that you got Jumpin' Jack Flash, things like that, but which was a kind of, I think it was a launch title for the PS1 back then. But like, I mean, if you were going to try to pull in like maybe Persona, the original Persona, things like that, then why would you not try to go after Xenogears, or try to bring in Legend of Legaia, or Legend of Lagoon, or just tons of other games that I could see that had, Chrono Cross. There was so many games that should have been on this list. I mean, you could have put I don't know, like I just
Brave Fencer Musashi, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, Tomb Raider.
Ooh, that's right. Blood Omen,
Soul Reaver.
Legacy,
a bunch of freaking games you could have thrown in there, man.
I mean, one of the games that got me hooked on card games was Yu-Gi-Oh. You know what I'm saying? The Yu-Gi-Oh card game, that Duel Monsters, I think it was called. That was fire. Like, I just can't believe, why would you put that? Should have been any one of those games that me and Homeboy just said could have been just changed off and just and put in place of Crash. We just got a Crash reboot. Why would you put that in there again? So again, like, and especially like if in celebration of how well Shadow of the Colossus done, why is the original Inko not in there? I mean, like I said, there's so many other games that could have taken its place, but for me, if you can't emulate those games, more games in there, or like they would say that they have like another 10 games to be available, maybe in another 5 or 6 months or something like that. You know what? It just seems like a complete waste of money, unless it's just for a collector's item. That's the only way that I can see it, because I don't see anybody just plugging it up and just playing it for hours on end. And
who was that? Was that Enrique? My bad for cutting you off, man.
No, go ahead, man. It was me. Go ahead.
All right. Well, check this out. One thing I do have to say, as we're moving forward, and these kind of like mini systems are becoming a thing, we're moving forward in generations as well. So you're not going to see as many games on the PlayStation Classic as you saw on the NES or the Super NES. You're dealing with 2D games on those platforms, where with the PlayStation, it took a lot more to make those games than with the SNES and the NES. That being said, though, with me, my own personal opinion, at first I was like, well, what games were they going to really do that to get people excited? But I think Enrique with Gran Turismo, I think that was a huge one right there, where I would have been like, damn, like I would have considered possibly picking up the PlayStation. That was the first simulation racing game that had me hooked like
Yes.
for hours. Yeah.
Facts.
And then also, like, I mean, a game that that's what I'm saying. Like, games that made PlayStation what it was. Like, I cannot believe. I mean, I love the fact that they put Toshinden in there, but why you didn't put Bloody Roar in there as well? I just don't understand that.
What about Tomb Raider 2 is another one? That's not even on there. That was a classic.
Right. Like, I mean, you could put Autumn Issue on there. I mean, like I said, there's so many other games that to me, that had a lot more impact on PlayStation 1's greatness. It's just that these games seem like just filler, and they put in a sprinkle of good of some superior classics, but then and also like Final Fantasy 7 is coming on it's already on the PlayStation.
Everywhere
4.
already.
Yeah, I got it on the PlayStation. I got it on the Xbox. I got it on my PC. I'm finna get. Well, I don't have it on the Xbox yet, but when it comes to Xbox, I'm finna get it then. So to me, it's kind of like that's oversaturation. Like, I just like they didn't think about the list with love. They just threw games in there and then just wanted to just sell it. That's to me is why I'm not into it like that. I just can't be.
All right. Well, we got to go to the Taj Mahal real quick because Predator is being very, very quiet right now. Yo, Pred, I got to ask you, man, what do you think about this games list? Are you with it, or do you hear like what the panel's saying, and did that spark up like more memories and been like, damn, they could have put like this game, that game? I know another game that kind of K Mega and Enrique Knox brought back in my mind just from me, getting for me to think about it was Tenchu as well. So like, dude, what do you think about this list? Do you think they hit the nail on the head, or do you think they missed a spot, man?
They missed a big ass spot, and I want to preface this by saying that I did not have a PlayStation. I didn't get a PlayStation until PlayStation 4, so I missed that whole generation because I was deploying and shit like that most of the time. So all the gaming that happened around that time period, I missed out on. So I look at the games that they had. I actually saw a video of the games, the little announcement or whatever, and all those games look like shit, to be honest with you. They might have been great back then because that's what you had back then, but bringing them up now, like I don't play old games like that. Like, I don't go backwards in time unless it's like something I really, really wanted to play. I never got a chance to play, and none of those looked appealing to me whatsoever. I mean, like the stuff I'm playing, Red Dead, one of the best looking games in the history of gaming, and then going back to that shit, like I can't do it. I mean, I tried to play Splinter Cell, the original Splinter Cell before, and I was just like, I can't do it. It just looks like shit. And for the collectors out there that want this sort of thing, I mean, I'm all for it, but it just looks like a cash grab to me. And then on top of that, like you guys were saying, there were probably better games they could have put in there in the first place. So, I mean, I didn't get that. It's almost like they're trying to like piggyback off the Nintendo Mini and stuff like that. So, I can't do it.
Well, no, Pred, that is a great point. Like a lot of times when you're in an industry and there's multiple corporations, a corporation will do something that was different, and other corporations in that industry will see it as a success. Will see if it really takes off, and they'll try to emulate that. I do want to hear Knox. I know you chimed in really quickly with K Mega. Is there anything else you wanted to kind of really detail on? Because I do have one more question about this whole thing, and it'll come to you after if there's anything else you want to kind of flesh out about the games list.
I mean, there's really nothing I could say, further. You guys pretty much, yeah. What the hell is Driller? What the hell is that?
Anybody know what that is? Yeah.
I never played it. Speaking of another game they missed the mark on was Silent Hill. What about Silent Hill? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Shit, I would have preferred you throw freaking. Aren't they trying to market this new medieval that they're dropping? Right, throw that shit in there. You know what I'm saying? Throw the old school one in there so that you can actually do the comparison. Oh, look the remastered one. Look how great it looks now.
Was medieval PS1?
Yeah,
it was.
It was. Yeah, it was PS1. Yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't know. I mean,
go ahead, man.
I'll keep it. You guys pretty much already, covered all the bases with that. I mean, do they got some classics in there? Yeah, but like Pred said, it's a difference, when you play those old school Genesis games and those old school NES or Super NES or Master System games, you expect that, right? It's those 8-bit, 16-bit sprites and all that. You're used to that. But when you are going where PlayStation went, where PlayStation actually brought it to the next level back then, but now we're so far beyond that it just feels like a broken, outdated mess, and you don't want to play that. You get that nostalgia feeling looking at it, but that's about it. If you're not a collector, I don't see no reason to pick it up. It should have had like about 79 more games on there.
Yo, Knox, I gotta say, man, I am in the same boat with you in terms of what PlayStation was about. When they came out with the PlayStation 1, it was about innovation. It was about going into the 3D world, making games 3D. For that point in time, the games were incredible, man.
Phenomenal, bro. They did that very well, bro. I remember Mortal Kombat 2 on the PlayStation. That was like the arcade machine. I'm like, I got the arcade in my house. That's how I felt. You know what I mean? Yeah, I could deal with the little loading that it had, but I literally had an exact duplicate of what was in the arcade downstairs. I didn't have to go chuck 50 Cent in the game no more. You know what I mean? Enrique, the arcade, right? Yeah. I could just play that in my crib. And that was to me, that was bonkers. That was mind-blowing at that time. But now, yes, they set that they set the precedence. They innovated. PlayStation did it. I will never take anything away from them as far as it goes. That goes. But right now, you're just gonna look at it and be like, "Wow, that's old, man. That's outdated as hell." The Nintendo and the Genesis and the Sega systems, they got that charm to it. You know what I mean? But nobody plays Atari, right?
No.
Ain't nobody playing Combat. Ain't nobody playing Combat or Carnival. No.
I still play Space Invaders every once in a while.
Really?
Yeah, no, I do. It's funny because I play it and I'm like, damn, this shit's so easy. I remember the kids struggling, but no, I will because it's funny. I have younger kids and they like playing video games now, and so what I've done is I've introduced them to what I grew up playing. And so I think that in some ways that's kind of pulled me back into playing some of these older games. Like I love the NES Classic. Like to me, that's the best of the throwback, systems that they've released. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I keep going back, and it's just nostalgia. It's nostalgia. I think that I look at the PlayStation 1 Classic like this. I think it's for people who want to go back and maybe explore the games they've never played, or maybe go back and revisit their childhood experiences. Some people grew up playing PlayStation the way I grew up playing Atari NES. But I don't think it's for everyone. I think obviously it's not for everyone. We're talking about it right now on the panel. I think for me to go back and play Metal Gear Solid right now would be kind of tough after playing the last Metal Gear.
Enrique, I gotta say, I was gonna start this off with Knox, but I'm actually gonna start it off with you and then go to Knox after this. With everything that we're saying here, mm-hmm. when Sony announced that they're coming out with a PlayStation Classic, Nintendo has been in this space, and they did it with the NES, and the SNES. Now, those right there, those were, in my opinion, those were hardware that were going more towards like an established 2D kind of like era of gaming. In my opinion, Super Nintendo is probably like the golden era of the 2D kind of like scroller and everything like that. We all know what PlayStation is. Now, I gotta ask, do you think that Sony was already at a loss when they announced this because of the pedigree of Nintendo? How kind of like wide scale the fan base is when it comes to NES, SNES, and how well those games do hold up, even playing them today. Looking at the PlayStation, do you think that Sony was already kind of like already at second place, like when they announced it, man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I don't know if they're at second place. I think they Here's what I think. I think Sony obviously saw the numbers, what Nintendo was doing, right?
And that's why I say it, because of the
Yeah,
business side, man.
and they're like, you know what, we could do this too. We're gonna go out. We're gonna put out the PS1 Classic. We're gonna see how it sells first. We'll see how it does.
Mm.
And that's obviously gonna dictate whether or not they come with the PS2 Classic. But I think that they saw what Nintendo was doing. Nintendo's had a lot of success with this, and I don't know, man. I just don't. I think the hard thing is to figure out how fans are going to accept this. You know, like, is it going to sell as well as the NES did, the NES Classic, or is it going to be a situation where it's going to be, really something that sells to a smaller audience? Maybe the audience that is nostalgic about, PlayStation One games or collecting, these mini consoles. I think I will find out. I can't say that that they're in second place. I just think that they're taking a shot and see what's going to happen.
Nah, you know what it is, Enrique. I'm sorry to cut you off, my brother, but the thing with, in my opinion, the thing with Sony is that they know that they can just flip a turd in the air and their loyalists will go and snatch it up like hotcakes, bro. They'll just go grab it, and they take advantage of that. They really do. You know what I mean? Like, they don't, it's not like they really put thought into giving us, because even if they're going to throw 20 titles, right, for $100, damn, include the analog controller, right? Put 20 of your greatest titles.
Knox, when it comes to controller, I can see where they were going. The PlayStation 1 didn't have the analog when it came out. Like, and if you are going for that complete kind of like retro feel, I hear what you're saying.
I mean, it was a different time. It was a different time back then too. Like, we weren't gaming on analog sticks back then, except unless you had the 64, which I'll give Nintendo a lot of praise. Nintendo has historically kind of been on the forefront in innovation with controllers, and they did with the N64. But I mean,
right.
we weren't really gaming with analog back then.
Okay. So I'll grant you guys that, right? All right. So for the purpose of replicating the system, right, and the whole feel of it, right? Fine. Don't do that. But at least put 20. If you're only going to give 20, right? Because they could have easily given 30 or 40. If you're going to give 20, put 20 games that every time, as I read the list, I'm just salivating. Oh, that's on there. Oh, nah. It's like, Driller. What's that?
I agree.
Jumping Flash.
Yeah, no Papa the Rapper. I mean, what the hell?
What, right? Wow. Give me some Parappa the Rapper.
Like,
hell
what
yeah.
What are you doing? Like, I mean, that.
Word.
Like, yeah, it don't make any sense whatsoever to me. It's just it's the, like I said, they didn't put any love into it. They didn't really do their due diligence.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
They just threw some games together, and they just wanted to just go out there and match up something for the holidays, because and instead of just doing it the right way by making by sending out like forms to different, like have a form and then just like have people make their put a list of what's their favorite games, and then just going by that consensus, you know what I'm saying? And then putting those 20 games, or I agree, it should be like 50 to 60 games in my opinion, but you know what I'm saying? But let's just say, 40 to 50 games, and then just looking at which one is the best one, just kind of like how Xbox did it with backwards compat. They went towards the fan base. They gave the fan base the games that were the most popular for them on the 360. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they should have done, but they didn't do it. And again, there'll be fanboys. They'll lose their shit and say we're damage controlling or we're hating on this system, but it's not the case.
But those are the cancers, bro. Those are the cancers. This is why Sony can exhibit that behavior, because it is accepted by their loyalists, own loyalists. This is accepted. Well, that's why they do it. You can't really blame them, right? They're out there to make money.
It makes you wonder what games didn't make the list,
See, my whole thing, when I first saw this, I was like, wow, like I saw the 20 games and stuff like that. In terms of the number of games, this is something I warned people when the NES came out. People started asking for, newer generation. They're like, oh yeah, SNES, and then go 64, and then what about Sony with PlayStation? What about Xbox with an OG Xbox Mini? And I'm like, you guys realize the closer you get to this time period, the less games are going to be on that miniature system. You guys do realize that, right?
No, well, I mean, I just don't want Xbox to do a mini
but
OG
you see what I'm
Xbox
saying?
anyway
Like,
gaming console.
You went from the NES, right?
Mm-hmm,
Which had Enrique. How many games did that have? Do you know off the top of your head?
It has 30 games, but they're all. I mean, these are classic like NES 30. The 30 games are classics. I mean, we're talking about Excite Bike.
They are small, games to put on, a piece of hardware. You know what I'm saying?
Especially all of these ROMs are small now, though. But you know what I mean? Like I can get 100 on an emulator on my PC, bro. I could play N64 games on my. And believe me, they are not that big. Not anymore. They're not. This is what happened. All these bootleg little mini consoles came out. These companies saw, these bootleg joints are making bread selling at your local ones. The Sega one at Family Dollar to be flying off the shelves, bro. Niggas want to play that Altered Beast.
Neo Geo has one out now.
Yeah.
Neo Geo, yeah.
I think that to me, because that system was so expensive that you know what I'm saying?
That's worth it to me now.
What'd you say?
No, that to me, that's one that's worth it because
exactly
the games were like $100.
There was only one person that I knew that had one. It was a friend of mine in school at sixth grade. Junior high. Name was Manuel. He was from Guam, and he was the only one that we knew that had it, and we loved it because all the games actually did kind of look like the arcade. It was really powerful, but that thing cost so much money. So yeah, that would definitely be for $100 price and putting all those games on there. That would be, and you know that Neo Geo would put the great classics on there. Like Nintendo did, and that's the thing. And let me just be clear: if Xbox did want to try to do a mini, I wouldn't buy it because I think it would be a waste of time. Just make those games be ported over to backwards compat. But if Xbox was bringing games that nobody knew about or cared about into this list, they should be dogged out for that too. And then they try to put $100 price tag on it and only give you 20 games. It would be a waste, especially by them trying to give this message to gamers that they're trying to bring more to the gamer than any of these companies right now. That would be just slap in the face in gamers, in my opinion.
I'll say this and play devil's advocate here. I think obviously, I think a lot of us are not happy with the list because of some of the great PlayStation games that are missing. But I think probably some of that has to do with licensing too. They maybe they couldn't get licensing and all the legality behind that squared away. I mean that could be part of it too. I'm not so sure how much of that is they want to leave Final Fantasy IX off the list or Chrono Cross. Maybe it's a licensing thing too with them.
That's what I was saying before. It makes you wonder what games didn't make the list if they wanted for whatever reason, or they asked because they didn't think they were going to be good games for the console.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out real quick to the chat. Yo, RG Viper, I do see what you're saying, man. And as soon as it really goes in and coincides with what we're talking about or whatnot, I will definitely state it over here. I feel like we're having a really good discussion here as well. I hope you guys are enjoying it in the chat. And while I'm saying this, if you are enjoying it, slap that thumbs up button for us, yeah. But at the end of the day, we got to see what happens. I know Enrique said he's not going to buy it. I'm going to go down the panel here. K-Mega, are you going to get the classic PlayStation, man?
No.
All right. Knox, are you going to get the classic PlayStation?
No.
All right. And Predator, how about you? All right. Let's move on. Yeah. Check this out. Just recently, there came out an ESRB rating for a game. It was an Xbox One exclusive. If you follow me, you follow my channel, you know this is one of my favorite games this generation, and that would be Sunset Overdrive. And the ESRB rating is for the PC. Now, it's got people in the community, that whole kind of like Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox, they're selling their soul over to the personal gaming computer and stuff like that. It's got everybody kind of whipped up on Twitter. So I want to go here and ask the panel what you guys think about this, and is there anything positive? Because to me, I take this as a positive moving forward for gaming and for Xbox. So let's start with Knox first. Knox, what do you think about the ESRB rating Sunset Overdrive going to PC? Do you think it's true? And then what do you think about it, man?
I mean, it could absolutely be true. I don't see why it wouldn't be. You know, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the only positive that comes from this is that you know, you know that at least Microsoft and Insomniac are still, you know, working together, and you know, there could be a future for a sequel to this to the game
right now.
you know, because I mean, I'm a keep it a buck with you. I'm with Mega. I don't like the game. To me, the game is ass, but that's my opinion. I know that it has its following, so
we were friends, by the way. We were friends until you said that, man.
I mean, no, but you know, in all seriousness, I wanted to like it, man. I bought it. You know, my wife was a big fan of Jet Grind Radio, so when she saw that, she really wanted that game. When you touch the floor and it's like if you walk in 10 gallons of molasses, I'm like, nah, I can't. Nah, this game ain't for me. But it has its following, and this is what's gonna happen, guys. PC is Xbox, Xbox is PC. That's it, bro. It is what it is. Just get used to it. Remember, everybody hated DRM. Now everybody love it. You're gonna love it.
Yo,
like Deep said.
Hold on 1 second. Knox, what the hell did you do with your gameplay, man? What the hell is going on here, yo?
Oh, that's a tribute to the Don right there, right? I figured I'd just put some ass gameplay of something repetitive, right? You know, like the Toad.
Oh my goodness.
That's my tribute to the Don, baby.
I thought we moved on beyond all that, but obviously.
Shout out to the Don, dog.
Yeah, hell yeah, yo. Huge shout out to our brother, the Don, man. I can't wait to have him. He's actually going to be on the live reaction next week for XO as well. So,
but that really is the glitch. I am like super rich in the game.
Okay, I wanted to ask you about that, but we have to talk about that offline.
Yeah.
It's like I'm super rich.
I said, oh no, look
I got mad bread. You bugging?
I'm not doing it, yo. Like,
hey, look at your character. He's got a nice vest on. He looks cool.
What? That's a gentleman looting right there. You know what I'm saying?
He said that's a gentleman looting.
Winning gameplay. Let's go.
All right. Well,
votes in.
Well, let's keep going with the topic then. Let's hit up Predator, yo, Pred. I know you dabble in PC. I remember, you know, PUBG on PC. You were heavy into that. A couple games on PC you get into. What do you think about this ESRB rating? Do you think Sunset Overdrive is definitely going to PC? And then what do you think about this, man? This news.
I'm trying to think if we've seen this before, where we hear something going to PC, but the game's never been released. I don't know. I have to do some research on that. But as far as Sunset going, I mean, it's been talked about in the past. You know, it's been discussed a little bit. And I'm more excited about the fact that they're actually still working on the game. You know, that means maybe we'll get 4K update or something like that for it. Maybe open up the pipeline so Microsoft can get them to make a Sunset 2 later on down the road. I wasn't a big fan of the game, to be honest with you. This was my Sunset Overdrive story.
My family hates me. My panel here hates me, man. That's what it is now.
Here's my Sunset story. I picked it up from Target. I traded in the same day.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
No, man.
And I picked it up on what was it, on Game Pass or whatever it was, like Game Pass, but
Games with Gold.
Games with Gold.
Yeah,
I got it. Games with Gold. Every time I turn it on, I'm like, I can't play this, man. It's not my bag, baby. It's not my bag.
Shout out to Mooch, by the way. Not my bag,
baby. Cannot get into that. And I've tried. I mean, I've tried multiple times to play that game. I just cannot do it. It just doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah. It was lost on me too, Fred. It was lost on me too.
You know, there is not a single game out there that's made for everybody. I will say that. So I will respect your opinions even though they're wrong. All right, and I'm just gonna move on real quick. Yo, Mega, what do you think about? I know you are heavy into PC and Xbox. I know you're heavy into PC because 80% of your gameplay comes from the.
Wow, you see that? You just said 80% of my gameplay when 90% of my gameplay today was Xbox. So it is what it is. Don't get it twisted.
All
Don't get
right.
it
Well,
twisted.
I'm just going over averages. No, but I'm saying that. I'm
Ooh.
saying that. Respecting my brother, man. You play a wide range of games. You don't necessarily care. I know you prefer the Xbox, but you'll play on any platform. What do you think about this? Do you think it's true? And then anything positive from this, man?
Yeah, no, it is something positive from it. I mean, I think this is the very first start of this game leading into getting a sequel. I think that they just want to see where the PC community feel about this game and I actually think that this will be a hit on the PC, just for the mere reason that this is their type of game. Like, it's just there's certain games that PC gamers like to play, and that wouldn't be so that a lot of console gamers wouldn't want to play. But this game got what it takes to do both, to gravitate to both PC and to the console community. So I think that it's going to happen, and it's just that they want to see how many people will support it on the PC, and then I think that there'll be a deal going to where that game is going to get get a sequel, and then the fact that it will be probably a Play Anywhere title and maybe go on to Game Pass. So I just think that would just be the best bet for both.
When it comes to like seeing about like how many gamers would be interested in this, I can see it on the PC side, but don't you think that with Games with Gold and this game being offered as a game with gold, don't you think that gave Xbox a pretty good kind of like barometer on
right quick, Bob, my bad. Pay the bills right quick, my dude.
Pay the bills? What happened? I didn't see
you didn't see Vogel's Creed?
No, I didn't see Vogel. Why don't?
Go check that out,
dude. I can't find it.
Hashtag vote for Knox, baby.
Oh, he got all excited.
Yeah,
damn it,
let's get it.
Vogel hitting up that super chat. You know you misspelled it. You spell Knox XBOT. All right, just to let you know that, man. But I just forgot where I was now. I know we're on Sunset Over. Oh, don't you think that giving Sunset Overdrive as a game with gold in terms of the console, it would have showed like the barometer of how many people were interested in this game in terms of active users after they gave that game out as game with gold? That's
yeah. No, I think so. I do, but again, it is, you know what I'm saying, it's been years later, and I think that a lot of those games that's now being put that's got on games with gold, a lot of gamers they have played it, they like it or they don't like it, but it just doesn't have that same impact as it seems like it's fresh and new. Like that's why I think that for the PC fan, that's going to feel good for them to go ahead and they'll buy it. You know what I mean? For Xbox fans, they've had to take the brunt of this game was 900p. The game sucked. The game's this and that. It's an Xbox game. Blah blah
that
blah.
Resolution thing was, it had to be one of the stupidest things this entire generation, man.
Right, and so therefore I think that it lost a lot of esteem on from the Xbox gamer. So I'm pretty sure there was a lot of people that maybe got it that got it off that was free, but I don't think a lot of people really dug into it. They just kind of let it pass on, kind of like how the rest of us on the panel has. I mean, I like the game. I don't hate it. It's just not my favorite out of all the exclusives that Xbox had in the beginning of this generation. So I say, like, I want all these games to get sequels just for the mere fact that there was to say, look, you guys stuck it out with us when nobody else seemed to care about the Xbox brand and to some degree, but you guys stuck with us, so we're going to repay you back by bringing all these sequels back. That's exactly how I look at it, and that would be a great gift back to the gamer, especially to the fan of this title, for them to bring a sequel back.
Mega, it's kind of disappointing that you didn't really kind of like attach yourself to this game, because you remind me of Brill Cream from the game. I just want to let you know that.
Brill Cream?
Brill Cream.
Was that the dude that was selling stuff?
No, he was he was the guy with he was the Boy Scout with no arms or legs.
Oh snap! Okay, yeah, you gonna make me play it, man. You gonna make me play it now. So
Yeah.
you gonna make me really go through it and play it. So
Oh, shit.
All right, well let's go to our special guest here. Like I want to hear what you think about this. I don't know how you feel about kind of like Xbox's relationship with the PC. I don't know if you're one of those guys that the more the game is out there, the better or whatnot. So let me know like how you feel about that whole situation, and then what do you think about Sunset Overdrive possibly going to PC as well?
All right, man. So as a gamer, I just don't care whether or not an Xbox exclusive goes to PC. It doesn't impact me, so I don't care. On a business level, I would understand why Microsoft would do it because it means more money for Microsoft. But I personally don't care. Sunset Overdrive, to me, is one of, and I disagree with the two gentlemen on the panel who said they hated it, or I think everyone's on the panel. Xbox, I think you and I are the only ones that probably like
standing alone. And guess what?
I didn't say I hated it. I just said it just
because of that, Enrique, you are welcome back on the show whenever you want. All right? Just let me know, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I thought it's actually one of the best games on the Xbox this console gen. It's someone mentioned not Sunset Overdrive. Someone mentioned Jet Set Radio, and Jet Set Radio was one of my favorite Sega games. Classic on the Sega Saturn, and then when it came to the Xbox as an exclusive for a little bit, time exclusive, it was just an amazing game. And again, it's one of those games like Jet Set Radio. Like Jet Set Radio it was critically acclaimed, but it was a game that didn't necessarily sell well. It didn't. But the same thing with Sunset Overdrive. Like it just, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It had that hell of the great, like Insomniac makes games that are just like have tight controls, are fun to play, have interesting characters, are artistically creative, and that's what I got out of Sunset Overdrive. And it was a big deal at the time, I think, to have Insomniac, who had been pretty much only making games for Sony at the time, put out an exclusive game for Xbox. So I say the more the merrier. If it comes to PC, it's great. Although I don't necessarily know or think it's going to sell well on PC, because I don't think PC gamers. I don't think this is the kind of game for them per se. I mean, I think a lot of PC gamers are playing mostly shooters and MMOs.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the PC, you're talking like the here and now, the today. I don't think there's enough multiplayer in there for Sunset Overdrive, to be really honest with you, man.
And this thing's not going to be on Steam, so that's another issue.
That's another thing. People got to go to the dark side of the internet, into the Windows Store, man.
No.
That's an issue within itself. So
that's an issue for itself. Yeah,
I would though.
Huh?
Is that confirmed? It's not going to Steam.
They did. I believe. I'm not sure.
I don't think. I don't think it's going to Steam. I mean, if it's Microsoft, probably. If it's a Microsoft exclusive, I would be surprised if it went to Steam.
Well, I mean, Killer Instinct is on Steam.
Yeah,
so I don't see. Yeah,
Microsoft got the candle lit, man. You know they got the candle lit, man.
Kumbaya.
I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe
I'm surprised it's not on the Switch.
Oh wow!
Oh come on! Come on, messy. You being messy like now, that, bro.
No, really,
man. Killer Instinct on the Switch?
Y'all didn't see my man Stefan when he walked in asking about EXO?
No.
Oh, all right, my bad.
All right, well, check this out, Enrique. Since you do like the game, you're in that same boat with me. We know it didn't do exactly what they thought it would do in terms of sales, and we can say that because Insomniac, they had like the Sunset Overdrive channel on YouTube that they were updating every week, and they thought this was going to be a huge thing, and it turned out not to be. But with that being said, do you think this game does deserve a sequel in like the near future, man?
Well, yeah, I do. I enjoyed the game, so I have that bias. I do think it deserves a sequel. There's I think a smaller group of gamers that likes this, but I think if Microsoft can broker some kind of deal with Insomniac, I think that does a lot for just the Xbox fan base, kind of a token of good faith. You know, we kind of see that with Sony. I mean, Sony puts out sequels for games that sell like dog shit, but they do it because they know that there's a certain segment of gamers that want it.
Well, and
You know?
usually the
It's a great
sequel,
brand.
the sequel is the one that does really well, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some Sony games out there, yeah, that have done better, like sequel wise, yeah.
I look at Uncharted, and it's like Uncharted 1, did good introducing Uncharted in, but it wasn't until Uncharted 2 where I feel like Sony really started to get the sales that they wanted from that game. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and if you look at like things like someone mentioned like Ico earlier, like Team Ico made Ico, and then they came out with Shadow of the Colossus after that, and those games didn't necessarily sell well, you know. But they Sony greenlit those studios to make other exclusives, even though the previous games didn't sell well. So it's just something they do. I think it's more of a kind of like lip service to their fan base, you know. And so I think that if Microsoft would do that, I think it'd just be a nice like lip service to a lot of us who enjoy the game. Like
It shows more dedication when you do stuff like that, man.
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's like, hey, you know, like you care about, you know, whatever. Even if it didn't sell well, you still care about the folks that enjoyed it, and you're willing to put exclusive out, you know. And
That's
and I use
interesting.
Jet Set Radio. Jet Set Radio didn't sell well, and Sega came out with a Jet Set Radio Future.
Yeah.
You know, which was a sequel to the original Jet Set.
And I picked it up as well. So
I mean, look at Shenmue. Shenmue is one of those titles that is, I mean, credited for being like the first like groundbreaking
innovation.
open world. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that game did not sell well. And what did Sega do? They greenlit a sequel. You know, after the first Shenmue came out. So
well, yeah, that whole Shenmue 3 thing, I think that could be all a topic of its own, because it's so funny. Like, I'm glad, Enrique, you have a memory back then, because I'm like, when people started talking about Shenmue 3, I was like, but where were you guys with Shenmue 1 and 2, where you hold this game in such high esteem now? I was like, because back in the day, it really didn't get that hype that, you know, the third one that people are talking about are getting, you know, got when it was announced as well. So I see that happening a lot this generation as well. But,
I mean, for me, it was kind of sad to see Shenmue, to see Yu Suzuki being paraded out on Sony.
Yeah, he got exploited.
To me, I'm like, come on, Sony. Like that was like my one criticism of that E3 for Sony. Like, you guys could have probably funded that project for him.
Yeah.
And you probably should have, just out of, you know, because the guy's done so much for the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. And that was a big thing after the show. You know, a lot of people were excited about the game, but damn, like, to bring him up on stage and to be like, yeah, and I just need money from you. Like, it's like, oh, damn, is this E3 or is this like a charity fundraiser going on right now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I felt bad for Yuzuki. He's done so much for the
industry.
He
didn't look like he wanted to do that either. Let's be real.
Yeah, he was kind of like, I don't think he did, man.
But,
everywhere I go, people ask me.
All right, well, guys, let's move on. You know, we were talking off air before. We were like sharing stories, cowboy stories with Red Dead Redemption. Now, Digital Foundry has been all over pretty much every version of this game, and they also came out testing the HDR, or the high dynamic range of color. That, you know, it's a feature when you have a 4K television and, you know, you're using either PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 Pro, Xbox One S, or the Xbox One X, because I believe the original Xbox One, I don't think it supports HDR. So with that being said, they tested out the HDR, and come to find out, when they went through the analysis, and you guys know how I feel about Digital Foundry, they're coming out and they're saying that basically there's only bits and pieces of the game that are actually using HDR. Now, I know a lot of people out there in the community are absolutely loving this game. I got an issue with this though. Like, I feel like the community is giving Rockstar and Red Dead Redemption a pass here for touting a feature and possibly only giving you the light version of that feature or very minimal, kind of like HDR. If that's the case, like, I would expect the company to come out and say something or something like that. But I don't know. Yo, Mega, what do you think about this whole HDR situation? Like, what do you think about, Digital Foundry's analysis? And what do you think about, like, the community's reaction as well, man?
Well, I mean, it just sounds like to me, it just shows that there's a lot of people that don't know a lot about resolution, HDR, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They just go by what most people go by as the look of a game, and then that's it. Me personally, like if this game is lacking a true HDR, then my God, I cannot wait to see what it does when it fully implements HDR. Like, I mean, this game is one of the best looking games. It is the best open looking world game that I've ever seen in my life. And so again, if that's the case, then that's the case. I'm not gonna say it's fraudulent. It's not. Don't know. Could be one of the reasons why they may not. They may be new to the technology because
I heard people talking about the HDR before this analysis as well, saying that they were trying to switch up settings with their console, with their TV.
Yeah.
It didn't look right, stuff like that, man.
I look, like I said, I can't call it. The only thing I know that I've heard some people say that they had to turn it down. Like you've got a QLED or OLED. You had to turn it to 300. It's supposed to be 300, and the lighting's supposed to be proper. Some people said that the lighting didn't look a certain way. If they turned it to 300, they turned it to 420. I don't know. I put it on 300 and just let it rock. It looks stupid. That's all I know. And so, like I said, if it's not, if it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. They need to correct it. They need to say something about it. Also, it could be one of those things where they probably don't really truly know about the HDR capabilities, because if you think about it, the last game that they made was that they were working on before that was a game that started on last gen. You know what I'm saying? And they only did like an enhanced version. So this is the main game that shows you what they were doing and all of that. So because they take so long with that.
How many years did they spend developing this game?
Oh, they took a long time, but again, like I said, I mean, look, the game looks outstanding. Look. Let me just make this clear. Mm-hmm. I'm playing this game right now, and this game looks better. It's the best looking open world game that I've ever seen. I see traces of HDR. When I did to turn the HDR off, I seen a difference. I turned the HDR on, I seen a difference in that. So look, I don't know. I think it is because a lot of people's TVs are different. Some people are on older televisions. Some people are on newer televisions. So I think that if, you know what I'm saying, some people that may think that their HDR is supposed to work and they don't have HDR10, that could be a possibility. I have no idea. Like I said, I don't come in here and try to talk about tech talk when it comes to television and shit like that.
Defensive here, sir. Let's go.
No. I just think it's silly that. Look, hold on. Let me just make this point.
Okay.
I think a lot of this is stemming from the fact that because it's supposed to look the best on the X, and then I also think that and this would have been a very stupid argument for Xbox fans if the game was looking better on the PlayStation Pro. In my opinion, I just look at it like, look, then go ahead and fix the HDR the way it's supposed to be fixed and make the game look even better, because this game looks phenomenal. That's all I'm saying.
I gotta say, here's my deal, man. Here's my deal when it comes to this, all right? And I want to hear what you say after this, K-Mega. Mm-hmm. Games that are on other platforms that say 4K or they'll say dynamic 4K, people in the community make fun of that shit for checkerboard all the time.
Right.
And if we're gonna call a spade here, you know what I'm saying? This is the same thing. It's a feature that's in the game, and if it's not being implemented, properly to where you can call it a full-fledged feature, I don't know why the community would kind of turn their back on that news and be like, no, it's okay. Is it one of the best games I have ever seen? Yes. visually outstanding, but that is not the point of this whole thing, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, look, like I said, but I can't call something that I can't really speak on in the form of
But you
knowing what
you don't have anything to test for native 4K or anything like that either. You go off what is said out there by analysts or whatnot.
I go off of what my television tells me. My television says 4K HDR working. That's what it tells me. So if that tells me that it's doing that, then obviously the HDR is working properly. I don't know. Like I said, if there was something where I didn't see the HDR come out, then I would make an argument. I think this is, look, I can't call it a nitpick because, you know, if the shit is not looking right, it's not looking right on people's televisions. It needs to get fixed. It needs to be a patch. Mm-hmm. But only thing this does, it's going to make the game even look better on the Xbox One X. Well, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the only system that really truly, huh?
What platform do you have it on?
I have it on the Xbox One X.
So you would want them to patch it then, right?
If they need to, the game still looks better than anything than anything else that I've seen that's an open world game. Period. It's better. It's almost better than anything that I ever seen in my life. Like, it's a beautiful game. I was sitting here just earlier talking about the lighting and all of that. So look, only thing I can tell you is what I see on the television.
Graphically, I've never seen any game match what Red Dead Redemption 2 is doing right now. Like I said, that is not the argument for me. I feel like if they're gonna put something on the game box and say HDR or whatever, that they need to have that feature there.
Like I said, I see on my television it says 4K HDR. When you turn it on and the game displays, like, it shows that. Like if I have to switch out and put in my Elgato to show gameplay and stuff like that, it'll pop up and it'll say 1080p HD. That's what it does. Like, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know if then I guess Red Dead is faking out my television. I don't know. Like I said, if it's fucked up, then we fix it.
That's what Digital Foundry is saying, that it actually it's SDR in an HDR container, and it's tricking not tricking, but it's
like at least 80% of the scene is actually in the standard dynamic range.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and they put the HDR in kind of like the lighting and stuff like that, which, you know, it does diffuse what you see. You know, because the lighting, it gets so bright or whatever. That's what your eyes are attracted to, like, first and foremost. But Enrique, what do you think about my argument here? Do I have a leg to stand on?
I see what you're saying, man. Like, I get your point, but that I understand. Like, the fanboys aren't gonna contradict. Like, the fanboys are gonna say, you know what, Sony's gonna do checkerboarding and call it 4K when it's really not 4K. So I kind of see, like, your point there with the whole HDR thing. Like, if we're gonna call out one thing,
if we're gonna call out one thing, we're gonna be good to the gamers in the community out there and call it as we see it across the board, man.
But this is happening on both, though, right? This is happening on the Pro and the X.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, this is the whole thing, right? Because everybody always wants to take the malicious route, right? Oh my God, it was intentionally done. You know, Rockstar hasn't put anything out there other than they're aware of it and they're going to address the issue, right? But, you know, is this a technical thing? I'm not familiar with that aspect of technology as far as, you know, HDR goes, but, you know, would it have impacted the game if they went full HDR? That, you know, why people don't look at it as the glass half full, and they tried to give us something where they could, right? And not giving them a free pass spot, because I understand what you're saying, but this is the freaking best looking game I've ever seen. And I played God of War this year, which to me was the best looking game I ever seen, till Red Dead took that away from them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if they can address it, let them address it. How about everybody in the community, you know, just have Rockstar say, hey, what's going on here? Is Digital Foundry right? You know, are you trying to trick us? Is there something that maybe on a technical level that is holding it back, and you had to do this in order to deliver what you have delivered to us? Let's look at it that way. The game looks outstanding no matter where you're playing it, even on an S, on a base PS4, on the X, of course, is the best. On a Pro, with the Vaseline and all that, but it's still looking great everywhere. Wherever you play it, wherever you can get your hands on it, it's gonna look awesome. You're gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be fantastic, and that's just like a real nitpicky thing. I mean, for the community to complain about, it's almost like the community only looks for shit to bitch about instead of shit to be happy about.
My whole thing is they're giving this a pass, right? Now, you guys, you've known me for a while. When it came to resolution, like I said, I thought that was one of the stupidest arguments this entire generation. I feel like certain games like Sunset Overdrive, like Quantum Break, have gotten such a huge dent because of resolution and what the overall resolution was to these games that it was absolutely pathetic. So when it comes down to it, why?
But that was intentionally done by the media and by the people who has something to gain from all of this. We all know that there is absolutely ain't shit that you can see.
People
I don't
in the
remember
community arguing about it day and night, man.
Only fanboys argue about it because in all honesty, between 900p and 1080p, you cannot tell a difference. There was. If I'm gonna find the video and I have it somewhere on YouTube where I forget who it was that did it. I'm sorry, real quick, but they were using a Cronus Max so that you couldn't tell what controller you had in your hand, and they were handing out Xbox One controllers and PS4 controllers and having you play the game and saying what console's that on. People, they could not get a definitive answer. You know why? Because you cannot tell the difference between 900p and 1080p unless you're David whatever. Oh my God, teas and crumpets to get out of here. Only them dudes that got these devices that look at. Do you see that one pixel out of place on the one leaf on the tree?
Slow it down and zoom in 800%.
Yeah, zoom in at 700%, and then you see that one leaf. You see the way it flickers. It doesn't have this. Get out of here with that nonsense, man.
I want to say something real quick about resolution. I disagree with on the media thing and Xbox. You probably heard me. You probably see me tweet about the media buy stuff, but I think, and I hate going back to like beginning of the console generation, but I think what happened and the reason why the media was kind of pouncing on the idea of resolution was because of at the time of the Xbox releasing at $500 being $100 more, and the expectation coming into a new generation was we were going to get games at better resolution because we were getting games on the 360 at 720p, 900p, and even some games native 1080p on the 360.
You're right.
And so I don't agree with that. It was this conspiracy or this, I just think the expectation for consumers and I was one of them, like, hey, wait a minute, like, why am I paying, $100 more for something that's not outputting? And at the end of the day,
that makes sense.
I wouldn't say conspiracy. That's not what I mean. What I mean is it furthered these media outlets' agenda. They want clicks. They want, and what do they want? I understand that. But you know what I mean? You don't want Boston Red Sox fans and Yankee fans thumping in the street because the news wants money. You know what I'm saying? They furthered that narrative is what I'm saying. There really was no difference. Yeah, did Microsoft drop the ball? Absolutely, they did, bro. I'll never deny that. PS4,
it was the same thing last console gen. Like they got Sony got crucified for games like Skyrim running terrible. I mean, Skyrim was unplayable on the PlayStation 3 for many years.
But they should be critiqued for that because it ran terrible. It wasn't a difference as I wouldn't care if I bought Skyrim on the PS3 at 720p or whatever, 780 or whatever, I don't know the damn thing. And on the 360 it was 1080. If it played well and worked for me, I wouldn't give a damn.
Wouldn't care, man.
I wouldn't care. If the game doesn't function, then absolutely they should have their card pulled, is what I'm saying.
Well, the point is that this is where the whole thing came out. And then I think the community kind of really I think a lot of people got their feelings into it. And at the end of the day, I think I don't know if it was you, Xbot, or someone else has said that you couldn't tell the difference between 900p, 1080p. And in most instances, if you're playing upscale 900p, depending on how it's upscaled, you weren't having it wasn't a game breaking type of experience. I felt like people took it to the point where like, oh, this is game breaking, or because they're saying this means the game is bad, but it wasn't like that. And I think like with Red Dead, I see what you're saying, Xbot.
Thank you for bringing it back around. I was trying to figure out a way to bring it back to the topic. Yeah.
Because I get what you're getting with the consistency. Like if you're gonna have, if you're gonna say have a certain standard about one
then
thing,
you're gonna have it across the board. Yeah,
I get that.
No, all I'm saying is give them a chance. Give them a chance to explain themselves.
I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that Rockstar was trying to be deceptive. My opinion, this was probably a design choice, given the scope of look how big this fucking world is. I mean, we all talk about how big this world is. I mean, this is probably the best open world looking. This is the best open world looking game I've ever played in my life.
Right.
I mean, just the amount. And I turned HDR off, and I turned it off on my TV, and I feel like
I play on a 1080p television, man.
Bro, you complaining? You ain't got HDR.
I'm playing.
Right. Yeah, you making
about
a big
the
ass deal of
principle,
it.
man.
Why are you complaining, man? You got 1080p, man.
You got a 1080p, bro.
Let me chime in on this real quick.
Come on.
Let me chime in on this.
Go ahead, Brett.
If no one told you, you wouldn't even fucking know.
It's true.
It's
true. Absolutely true.
If you didn't hear about this with somebody, you wouldn't even have known, because the game still looks good. The game still plays great. It's probably gonna win Game of the Year. If not, it'd be really fucking close. But like, you didn't know this until someone said something to you, because all last week and the week before last, we found out about this. Oh my God, this is the best looking game ever.
But that, you can say that about the negative news this entire generation. You wouldn't have known it if somebody.
Oh, and I've said that before. Like you would never know. Like we were just saying, like you can't tell the difference between 980 and 900p and 1080p. You don't know until someone says something to you. Right. Even Megan was just like, I know it's working because it says so on my fucking TV screen, right? So like that's how we know. Until Digital Foundry came around, that shit didn't fucking matter. I don't understand why it matters now. Like, I mean, yeah, if they want to do what was I about to call it, dynamic or fucking checkerboard, fucking HDR or whatever. I mean, it still looks good. So I'm not complaining about it. It's one of the best looking games I've seen this generation. So
absolutely,
yeah. I got you.
I want to chime in real quick, but like I did. It's funny. I did notice that something was off when I had HDR enabled, and this is before the whole Digital Foundry thing came out. Like it looked a little more washed out for me, and I was coming from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which the HDR looks like incredible, right?
And I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I noticed.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, like something seemed a little off, but I didn't like it. It wasn't game like I say that, but I don't say it to say that it was game breaking or that it ruined my experience. It didn't. When Digital Foundry came out with what they came out, I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense now. Why I felt like it was a little more washed out compared to, my previous experience with like Odyssey, which is another open world game. But.
And that makes perfect sense because I just got this QLED, so I haven't even seen Odyssey on here yet. So that could be that could be that could be the same thing.
Yeah, man, you're still like the 8-year-old with a brand new bike right now, man. That's.
Look, I'm just saying. I mean, it just kind of. I'll let homeboy finish. I'm sorry, man. I just wanted to say that makes really good sense.
Yo, we getting it popping up in here, man. Hit that like button real quick.
Let's move on to the next subject, man. We've been on this shit for a while.
I don't know. I thought it was something important to touch on because at the end of the day, being YouTubers and seeing how many people are now going to YouTubers, even my like rinky dink small ass channel, and to get our opinions, to get like the gaming news and stuff like that. I feel like we have a responsibility to keep things kind of like level throughout, you know what I'm saying? And if I see that people are giving something a pass that like I just don't understand why, or I don't see like we should be talking about this more, we should be putting it out there more or whatnot, I'm gonna say it. And with having the panel here and as cool as you guys are, I feel like I can ask you guys and really have a good discussion about things. So that's why I put it in there. But guys, we are going to go on a lighter note now. I hope you guys are excited. All right, we have 1 week to go before Xbox brings back their XO for 2018. And I know, we've been out there plenty of shows talking about this, talking about that, but this show has never really gone in and put in predictions, like what we really feel we are going to see from this show that's only 7 days away. And I thought, this would be the perfect time to do it. I believe Enrique in the DM agreed with me as well. I was like, all right, we are going to roll with this. So, Enrique, special guest of the night, I am putting you on the spot. All right.
No problem.
What do you think you are going to see from Xbox next Saturday with the XO, man?
All right. I think we're going to. I think most of the panel would agree with me. I think we're going to see a lot of newer game announcements from some of the studios they've acquired, or get some kind of insight into what they're working on. I think that we'll see Crackdown 3.
I think we're going to get a heavy dose of Crackdown, man.
Yes, I think we are. I think we'll get another studio announced. I know some people have been speculating Obsidian. Now, Turtle Rock's kind of been put out there as well. I think Obsidian's probably the more likely of the announcements to happen in terms of acquisitions. But I think we're going to get games. I can't look. I've heard from folks that have talked to Phil that if you're someone who is concerned about the first party lineup for Microsoft or the future of first party, then you're not going to be disappointed with XO. So take that with a grain of salt, whatever it means. But I think we're going to see games, and I think Microsoft is going to kind of come out of the gate just end of 2018 just swinging, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. The previous XO events have been big for Microsoft. We've seen Splinter Cell announcements. The acquisition of Rare happened at XO many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal. When, if you guys remember that, when Microsoft acquired Rare, everyone was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! What? Where did that come from?"
Yeah, the whole industry stopped to look up. Like, what did that just happen?
Yeah, and that to me, that was like Microsoft. Outside of purchasing Bungie at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was Microsoft's big nod to the industry, hey, we're not messing around, we're here to stay.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna get more of that at XO. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I think people are gonna be excited for what Microsoft is gonna show at XO this year.
Nice. Now I gotta say, I'm hearing things like when it comes to Halo or when it comes to Gears, that they might not show anything about those. I am really weird when it comes to Gears, because Gears is coming in 2019. There's no kind of you don't have any kind of caution. There's no yellow light there with hearing that, kind of a couple of the foundations of Xbox in terms of franchises with Halo and Gears might not show up there. Do you think they're not going to show up, or are you okay if they don't?
I'm okay. If they don't show Gears or Halo, I'm okay with that, as long as they're showing some of the other things that the first party studios are working on. I don't think they have to show Gears or Halo. To me that would be too obvious.
Yeah. No, I got you. I'm a Halo. I'm a huge Halo fan. I'm a Halo fanboy. I want to see something on Halo. So I think I'm talking more from the heart than from the brain on that one, man.
No, look, if they showed me Gears 5, a new Gears or Halo, look, man, I'd be excited, man. I'm not gonna lie, I would be because I'm a fan of those franchises. But I don't think it's the I don't think if they don't show those franchises that it's gonna make the show it's not gonna be a good show if they don't show those franchises. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I got one more question for you, Enrique, before I move to the rest of the panel on this. But when it comes to studios, Microsoft has acquired 5 new studios already. And if you're following any of the podcasts out there and stuff, people are constantly talking about either Obsidian, or the new one is Turtle Rock and stuff like that. Do you really feel with them getting already so many studios acquired so many new studios, that it is necessary for them to have kind of like a I guess you would say a blockbuster moment where they say, oh yeah, by the way, Obsidian is now first party, or Turtle Rock or something? Do you feel like they need to say something like that at XO, man?
Do they need to? No, because I think at E3 this past year, they really dropped the gauntlet with like clearly they're listening to us, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us were saying, "Yo, like, what's up with first party?"
Oh yeah.
And Phil went out and was like, "You know what? I'm going to open up the checkbook, and we're going to acquire first party studios," and they did that. So I don't, and given the acquisitions that they announced at E3, I don't necessarily think they have to acquire more. But if they do, it's just the icing on the cake.
Mm.
And that's how I look at it. I if they don't announce it, like, I'm not going to be disappointed because they've announced a lot already. But if they do, it's the icing on the cake. And I really believe Microsoft next gen, and they're laying down the foundation right now. And this is the Microsoft that I remember and that I like seeing when the first Xbox came out. They are. I don't see Microsoft as ever putting themselves in the place where they're going to lose that power narrative ever again.
No, no, definitely.
I just don't see that.
I was gonna say with the structure, the hardware of the Xbox One X. I mean, they have really kind of like solidified the fact that a lot of games are being built very similarly, right? So
Mhm.
they took care of bottlenecks and stuff like that with the Xbox One with creating the X, and I feel like they created an architecture where they can, for lack of a better term, I know there's going to be more work than that, but drop in a more powerful CPU, a more powerful GPU, and the thing, it just runs. I think they got that framework in there that they are going to use kind of like moving forward in terms of hardware. And yeah, I don't see them kind of relinquishing that power narrative. It's good to see that OG Xbox kind of like back. I can definitely see that, man.
And the other thing too is like like Game Pass. The one thing that I do want to see him do in terms of marketing, I want to see him market more of the Game Pass, like Game Pass as a feature. I don't feel like they talk about that enough. Um, like, you guys remember the whole financing thing with Xbox One X? Like, it was like $35 a month,
Oh,
whatever.
that Dell financing that they were doing.
Yeah, like talk about that more. Like, I thought that was actually a good value add for them too. But what excites me is the fact that they a lot of people criticize them for services, but now they're stacking up first party, and if the first party can deliver some really good content, it makes Game Pass look really sexy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And
You
see,
know,
my whole thing about acquiring studios, I don't want anybody out there to get it twisted. I feel like Phil Spencer is really serious about the quote unquote Netflix of gaming when it comes to Game Pass. And if they are doing it like that, which I believe they are going to need to acquire new studios. What I'm saying is, we already got like 5 studios announced. One of them being Ninja Theory. Does another one really have to be kind of like in that main event of an announcement? Because I feel like they're gonna do other studio acquisitions, and they're not gonna put it like front and center on stage. You're gonna see it in an article somewhere on the internet, and then a couple years down the line, you're gonna see their game in Game Pass. That's the way I see it, and I'm like, 5 wasn't enough for people. Now you need that another big announcement or two to really get your juices flowing. You see what I'm saying? I kind of scratch my head with that. I'm like, I can't wait to see what Ninja Theory, what Playground is working on. Like, we don't know what they're working on. You know what I'm saying? But I want to see what they're doing, probably more than I want to hear about any more acquisitions of other studios. Does that make sense, Enrique?
yeah, no, it makes sense, man. I hear what you're saying. It's like, because that's kind of been like, on the flip side, it's kind of been the criticism too. Okay, well, they've acquired all these studios, but we don't know what they're working on. And I get what you're saying. Like, if they acquire one more, and maybe we don't hear necessarily what the other studios are working on, then it's like what's going on behind the scenes. Like, I get what you're saying.
All right, man. Great talk, and we are gonna move down to the rest of the panel. Let's go to Predator. Pred, Dude, predictions. XO, are you gonna predict something absolutely insane? What do you think we're gonna see next week? Of course, with our live reaction, man.
I'm trying to like curb my hopes a little bit.
It's hard now, right? It's
It
so
is really,
close. It's like,
and it's almost like I almost forgot it was next week. I mean, I knew it was this month. I didn't have the date in my mind. I still don't even know what time it starts, but um, obviously, I guess it's like right around the time we go on, so we're doing a live show. But I don't know, man. Like we've already talked about studio acquisitions, and I think for me the biggest things is games, like what's coming down the pipe. They announced the Xbox One X a whole year early, and I think maybe if they're going to come out with another device, they could announce it here and give us like a holiday 2019 type deal like they did with the X, or or even some other games. I mean, like we got all these studios, and everyone's saying like it's going to be a while before we hear about what's coming down the pipe for those games, but that's fine. Just tease it, give us something, to keep our hopes up for E3 and keep the momentum going throughout the rest of the year. Obviously, Crackdown. Maybe they'll finally push a date for the Minecraft update, even though it's not my shit.
oh, thank you, dude. Pred, you are my brother for that. Yo, you're talking like the super duper graphics pack.
Yeah,
Dude, I've been waiting for that for so long. I think I'm the only Minecraft fan on the panel. And I'm like, you know what? I'll go into it when they boost up the graphics. You get all that natural lighting and everything like that. And then they're like, yeah, we don't know when it's coming out now. And I'm like,
yeah, they pushed it back a couple of times.
Oh my goodness.
And I know, like, I mean, this probably going to resonate really very well with everybody in the panel. But they're talking about putting Game Pass on PC. So we'll discuss that a little bit, how that's going to work, because I think we talked about this last week, and my biggest issue was, what games you putting on there? Because a lot of these games are like, a lot of the Game Pass games are specifically Xbox games. They're not on PC. So how are you going to do that? Because your store sucks, So talk about that a little bit. But I don't want to get too deep into PC shit at this show. It's the XO event, not the XO PC show. So I don't want them to kind of just go down that rabbit hole. Keep it about the Xbox itself, the console, and what you guys are going to do with the console. So
yeah, we did we touched on that a little bit on Crossfire as well. Like, I understand, I think it's the next step when it comes to Game Pass, putting it on PC. I understand what they're doing with that in terms of that service or whatnot. But I got to agree with you. Like, Microsoft Xbox, there's certain games that are that they're in there kind of like developing, and they're PC exclusive games. So like it's time to come back to what really built Xbox, and really have a show dedicated to the Xbox like console gamer. You can talk about it, just don't make it the entire show, right?
yeah. And maybe they'll come out with that Elite 2 we've been hearing about for so far.
I heard that's on the shelf for the foreseeable future, man. To be really honest with you, yeah, it's just that they really want to. They're trying to change that whole stigma in terms of this generation, especially later on, because Xbox they had exclusives like out the gate in 2013 and moving forward, but now. I guess they kind of see what's going on in terms of social media and stuff, and they want to stay away from really going heavy on new hardware and stuff, and really try. This is what I'm hearing. They're hammered down that the games are going to be on this platform. That games are coming, like Enrique said, first party. Phil Spencer is really kind of like, yeah, this is where we're dedicated, and I hear that as well, kind of like in the YouTube hallways and stuff. So I also, like I said, I heard the Elite 2 is kind of put up on the shelf for a date later on.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's go to the man that was talking about there is no difference between 900p and 1080p. My brother Knoxximus. Knox, do you have some predictions for XO 2018, brother?
I mean, as far as predictions go, I mean,
Besides
I
that, we're
don't.
gonna have an awesome live reaction that everybody is gonna check out on Saturday. Yeah, that's a given right there. But we can move on from that prediction, okay?
Absolutely. But no, as far as prediction goes, I don't know what I would like. What I like I said, what I would like to see. I would like to see them. Something maybe mentioned. Like you guys were talking about earlier. If they don't mention Halo, if they don't mention Gears, that's fine with me. Let me see you making some moves with the initiative or with Ninja Theory. You know what I mean?
Take the
Maybe
initiative with the initiative. I
yeah,
got you,
man.
man.
Apps and for me, something that's big that I didn't mention on my own channel that to me is pretty big. They really need to represent with Crackdown 3. They gotta put something out there that's gonna make people go, yo, you know what? It was worth the wait, man. Yo, did you see that?
Do you really think that they can show anything that will kind of will temper down the negative stigma that game has gotten already though?
I mean, I
Let's be
it,
real.
I don't know if they can, but that's what I would
I'm
like.
pumped for that game, man.
But
I'm a
that's what I
Crackdown fan, yeah.
that's what I would like for them to do. And you know what's bugging by? Like I said about Banjo, like I said about Sunset, like I'm not a big fan of Crackdown. But I know what these type of things mean to the community as a whole. I know how the Sunset Overdrive fans, like you guys were saying, yeah, part one didn't do that well, but you know what? Keep it going, keep it moving because it has its following. And that following, if you make the next one great, that following is going to come back.
Yo,
That
Knox.
word of mouth is going to get out
Knox,
there.
you brought up Sunset. My bad. Yeah, I'm gonna let you keep going, but I just had a brainstorm. Wouldn't Sunset Overdrive be a great kind of like world for a battle royale? Like
It
an
absolutely,
exclusive Xbox battle royale, colorful and everything, kind of like Fortnite. You got like these crazy big, monsters and stuff that are in certain parts of the world as well. Like maybe take them out the way, Call of Duty's battle royale does with the zombies. You get like special weapons if you take out the bigger monsters and stuff. But have
yeah.
a battle royale in that. I don't know. I think that
I
would
mean,
be awesome.
it could be. It could be. But you know what my main focus, my main concern is that I want them to just get the masses excited, get people hype on your products.
Mm-hmm.
Come out with some advertising. I'm pretty sure everybody here remembers the Gears of War commercial that had that one song being downloaded. All around me are familiar faces. Everybody probably went and downloaded that song just because of that Gears of War commercial,
Yo, I
that
got you.
Mad World song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that wasn't even the Tears for Fears version. That's not even the original. That was that remake. And everybody was looking for that particular version because that commercial it just built the hype. And Gears was the shit behind that. I want to see that. And if they announce a new studio or two, hey, it ain't gonna hurt, bro. We got 5 now. We got 7 or 8. Go ahead and drop that. I would prefer for them not to even announce Gears or Halo because you know how they say Gears, Forza, Halo, right? Gears, Forza, Halo. Those are heavy hitters. So yeah,
Those are billion-dollar franchises.
Absolutely.
Man, that millions of people still play to this day.
Yeah, nobody says, oh, Uncharted, God of War, Last of Us. Nobody says that, right? So, of course, Gears, Forza, Halo. That's us. That's Xbox. That's them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You want to hear that when you hear Xbox. You want to hear when you hear Sony. You want to hear God of War. You want to hear those. You want to hear Last of Us. You want to hear Uncharted. You know. Mm-hmm. I would like to hear Heavenly Sword, but I'm going off. But yeah, man, that's what I want to see at EXO, man. Microsoft represent, show us something with Crackdown, show some of that destruction, that multiplayer that they touted so much about, that goddamn cloud and all that. Let me see that, bro. You make us want that game, make it worth the wait.
Dude, I think you're gonna be happy with EXO then. Like I said, from what I hear, they are they're going in heavy, kind of reissuing Crackdown to the world, bringing it out there again. I feel like it's going to be a really heavy presence. They're going to go really into both the multiplayer and show the single player, show what they've done improvement wise, I guess, with the graphics. Even though I will state, and I've stated this before, I thought what they showed, even though they had people with no thumbs trying to play the game, I thought the game looked great to begin with. All right, and unfortunately, when they were doing the whole celebrity thing, they had the wrong people playing that game to show it out there. But I thought it looked good, so I can only imagine what it's going to look like now. They gave it extra time, they gave it extra polish, they went in and tweaked and did certain things. So I am definitely excited for that.
I mean, I hope so, man, because right now, I mean, where Red Dead set the bar as far as open world games go, and,
nothing's gonna go that level.
I mean, it's Odyssey, it's Odyssey and Red Dead right now as far as open world games go, and The Witcher 3. Because I love The Witcher 3. I thought that was a phenomenal open world as well.
I still think Witcher 3 graphically looks better than Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
That's my game of the generation. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Red Dead Redemption 2, game of the year this year for me. Game of the generation still The Witcher 3 for me.
Ooh, nice.
Facts.
Nice.
I agree with that.
Hey Mega, you're probably sipping on something, just waiting for your time to shine here. So I am swinging that spotlight and going in your direction, dude. What kind of crazy predictions do you have for XO next Saturday, brother?
I mean, I want to just touch on the fact that I agree with mostly everybody on the panel. I mean, I don't really care to see I mean, if you want to show a little clip of Gears, that's fine. You know, no Halo, because Halo probably won't be until 2020.
Xbox buys Sonic the Hedgehog? What's up?
Trash. But that's no. But you know what I'm saying, let the game speak. Let these newer titles have their own time. You know, don't try to saturate it with another Forza with this and that. I know that they'll probably show some
see the DLC and stuff.
Yeah, you'll see the DLC, things like that, but that's just small stuff. I don't want to have a big like an ending of Gears 5. I want to see an ending to maybe Crackdown 3 or 2. Well, this is what's going to determine how good the show is going to be. Is when are they going to show Crackdown 3? If they show it in the beginning, I think the show is going to be absolutely fire. If they show it in the middle, I still think the show is going to be great. If they show it at the end, then the show will probably be
now, why do you
less
say,
than
why are you using Crackdown and when they show it as a gauge, man? Let people know like why.
Well, because because since so many people they've dogged out this game, people just want to see the multiplayer. You just want to see what the final product looked like. So if you start the show off with Crackdown, that's going to be like, whoa, now this game is actually coming. This is it. This looks legit. Everything that we've seen, that we've talked about, that we were all hyped about in the beginning, it's going to bring back the hype factor again. If you wait and delay it, to me, it's kind of like I understand that's going to be the next biggest game for Xbox coming out in the beginning of next year. But I think that the wait, it's been so long that I think that you need to just start the show off with that and then just let it be a roller coaster all the way through, you know, from that standpoint. But the predictions is that it's going to be acquire more studios. I know that I can't remember who said it, but I know that you want to see stuff of what they're doing because, of course, we know that there's Ninja Theory is going to be on stage to say something. We have no idea. But the acquirement of new studios, I think, also brings another sense of excitement because it shows that Xbox is fully committed. Just like how you know what I'm saying, how our guest is just alluded to what XO is all about. You know, it's just saying that, look, we are committed. We're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. We had a down moment. Every console company has had it at their time, and we've had our moment. Now it's time to get back to business. And that to me just shows, look, if you pick up Obsidian, that's a win by itself on top of all the rest of the stellar companies that they've picked up. So studios that they picked up. I think that'll be great. for me, I'll just go ahead and go on a whim. I'm going to keep saying this until I see it. I want to see some. I want to see some Killer Instinct, man. I want to be shocked with some Killer Instinct.
Well, you are the fighter on the panel, man.
I want to see something about Killer Instinct, man. Just if you just show me a sign, that'd be good enough.
Now check this out, Vega. I'm gonna hit you with this, and I'm gonna see if you saw this. Out of everybody in terms of their predictions, nobody has really talked about anything third party, man. Why do you think that is? Because I think they're gonna go heavy into Anthem, which releases beginning of next year. They're I feel like EA and Xbox they got a really good relationship.
Splinter Cell third party exclusive.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think that because we know that the third parties are coming. I mean, that we know that Jump Force is going to come. We know that the Division 2 is going to come. We know that whatever.
Want to see more Division 2 though?
Absolutely. Hey,
Division.
I'm sorry. Man. I'm sorry. Once a Division and Anthem is out, there will be no more talk of Destiny, except for somebody trying to bring up something about Destiny 3.
Right
and I'm sorry that it's not good enough. It's not good enough, bro. I'm sorry. But this is the thing here is that, look, we know that these third parties are coming and they'll look great. It's going to be fantastic. They'll show them running off the X. Yes, maybe even a little bit more of Devil May Cry 5. That'll be great. But I think everybody wants to see what about just Xbox, and people just want to see. I mean, you got Fred saying, I don't want to hear nothing about PC. I want to hear Xbox. But for Xbox fans, they just want to see what Xbox is presenting more than anything else. I know that they're going to show some third-party stuff. I mean, they'll probably maybe show some of the Battle Royale, more of the story to Battlefield 5. That's going to be dope, but we all want to see what's going on with Xbox.
When it comes to Battlefield 5, and I know, Mega, you will agree with me, they have not had the smoothest road up to launch for that game. There's been negativity here and there, bumpy roads, kind of like through this process. To see everything kind of ironed out and to have a really good showing at like XO, that would be great for them, man.
No, yeah, no, it would be, and it would just. I've seen like 40 minutes of some story that a YouTuber was showing, and the story looks great. I mean, the game looks insane. It's beautiful, but
that Frostbite, man.
That's what I'm saying. That engine is legit. So again, it's that. But like I said, that's everybody's going to get to play those games. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be just Xbox only, or Xbox PC only. This is, I personally, lastly, I do want to see them show some of those PC games coming to Xbox. I want to see Redeemer. I want to see. I want to get that big announcement that that Age of Empires is coming over to Xbox. I think that will open up a lot of great PC games to spill on over to the Xbox, and believe it or not, that those type of games right there will not be on the PlayStation, and that's going to be huge for Xbox, in my opinion. That relationship between Xbox and PC, that marriage is going to be really huge if they stick to it and don't just listen to outside noise. In my opinion,
if they're faithful to each other,
right. That's what I'm saying. Don't listen to the outside noise. Stick to it. I mean, that to me, it's that there's like Redeemer is a really dope game, man. You see me show gameplay on it a couple of times. That's great. Grip is coming. I think Grip is coming to the PlayStation 2 as well, PlayStation 4 as well. But there's going to be
just jump back a few generations there.
No. I'm just saying it's just that I'm just looking at the potential of that, because it will bridge the gap like Red Dead did to where more people will start gravitating to get an Xbox, because the X is going to be that main factor, and the Scarlet, because they're going to be a lot more cheaper than these high-end PCs.
One thing I want to say about third party, and this is something I haven't heard a lot of the panel or a lot of the people out there on YouTube talking about, not necessarily the panel, but when it comes to third party, yes, I know this show is supposed to be for like Xbox gamers and stuff like that, but what gets other people who are pretty much dedicated to another platform, what gets them to tune into your show and possibly consider your hardware? If you're showing like the that third-party hardware that is going to be multi-plat across the board, but it's a game that somebody's looking forward to seeing, and you have kind of like exclusive gameplay going on your show, whether or not they're a dedicated PlayStation fan, Nintendo Switch fan, they're going to tune into your show, and you have the ability to also create another possible consumer of your product, because you are, having first party across the board, but then putting that third party in there is necessary for a complete show, at least on the business end. And anybody disagree with that?
Great. No, man, I think that makes perfect sense. I mean,
great.
I think we'll see. You know what? I'm going to throw out because I heard someone say Splinter Cell. I'm going to say we're going to see Splinter Cell. Finally, we're going to see
that would be great, man. Dude, like, people in the community been waiting for that.
I said it, and I want it to be a third-party exclusive. That's what I want.
So you want it? What?
I want it
exclusive to Xbox.
Yep. And put it on PC if you want. Let Ubisoft make their money on PC and Xbox, but no PS4.
That would be that should be the drop the mic moment. That should be the last thing.
Yes,
like, I mean, but
I would equate that more to like the Street Fighter moment, for PlayStation.
Right.
Sony been doing that. Where's Bloodborne? Bloodborne still ain't on the Xbox, right?
Right. No, you're right.
You know what I mean? Sony ain't shy about doing this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's just good business. I can't even get mad at Sony for that.
Or you would think about like Neo.
I think Sony owns that IP though. Sony owns.
Yeah, they own Bloodborne. Neo, I think, is the game that you're thinking about.
No, but didn't Neo? That came over, didn't it?
No.
You're thinking of
Nier.
Nier came over. Neo is the other little game. That game is dope too.
Well, when
that's on PC
now. When I had my PlayStation, that was the other game I was going to look into getting. But and I know, Enrique, you might disagree with me on this. I think maybe a couple other people on the panel, but I was actually disappointed in Spider-Man as a comic book Spider-Man fan. I was disappointed in the game. To me, it was just another Spider-Man game when I thought there was just so much potential that they could really kind of like reach for the stars with that game, and that kind of like turned me off. I was like, you know what, I'd rather be with one system right now after that, because I was so hyped for that game to begin with, and to me it let me down. But,
I mean, we all have our personal taste. I mean. I enjoyed Spider-Man. I thought they did Insomniac did this is the best Spider-Man game I've ever played on a console, going back to 2002 or 3. But yeah, I mean, look, man, if you don't like it, man.
Yeah.
I've heard other people say that too. That were Spider-Man fans.
I was gonna say I could pretty much guarantee there were probably Spider-Man kind of like comic book fans who.
Yeah, I've heard that.
We're tired of. Like, and this is like a Spider-Man thing in general. We're tired of Sinister Six, like, absolutely everywhere. Like, I know they put in Mr. Negative, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. That's something that, not a lot of like casual kind of like Spider-Man fans might really get into. Like, that was cool. But then they went back and they used the crutch again, and to me that was just like, no, why would you do that? But guys, I do know, Enrique, you got people coming over. It is we're a minute before 9 right now. I feel like we had a quality show, crazy topics. The panel absolutely on fire. And again, Enrique as a special guest, dude, it's been a long time coming. I hope you had as much fun as I had having you on. And I stated it before, you're a Sunset Overdrive fan. You are welcome back anytime, but you gotta let people know about your podcast. When it's on, and all that good stuff, and where people can get a hold of you to talk video games, man.
Yeah, man, no doubt. And look, I just want to say I had a blast tonight talking video games with you guys. So thanks for having me on, man. I definitely appreciate it. Look forward to coming back on the show. And, Xbox, we're going to have you on BRAP. So look forward to, getting you on the panel on BRAP as well to talk some video games. But, if you want to, follow me on Twitter. You can find me at Enrique at BRAP_podcast. And, if you want to check us out, the BRAP podcast, we podcast live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's myself, Eric Jackson, B Money 101, Slow Mo Backslap, and Gaming Forte. And yeah, we just we get together and talk video games. So you can find us on YouTube. You just go to YouTube, you type in Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, you'll find us.
Or you can just click that link in the description below, and it'll bring you right to their YouTube channel. Enrique, Slow Mo Backslap. That's a name I'm not gonna soon forget. I will let you know that right now. That's awesome right there.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Like that's like his gamer tag, man. It's gamer tag that I've come across, and he's a good dude, man. Like we go back and forth a lot on BRAP, but yeah, he's a good guy, man.
I can't wait to come on. You know me, man. I'm not shy. I will speak my mind. I'm opinionated. I listen to what other people have to say. I have a feeling that when we do come together on your channel, that's gonna just be another hell of a show, man.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's gonna be a great show, and you're gonna enjoy coming on, man. Because like I said, we are definitely opinionated on the show, but we just like to talk video games at the end of the day.
Maybe they'll agree with me about this HDR with Red Dead Redemption, but huge shout out to the indie gamer in the chat. Indy, he supports like just about every single show. I see him in the chat all the time. Great part of the community, hitting up that super chat saying, "Epic show, everyone." And of course, he says, "Xbot, you rock, brother." And I will humbly agree with you on that. But next on the list, we're gonna go with the man with the Dead Sea Scroll of appearances, and that would be my brother K Mega. K Mega, why don't you let people know what you're up to this week? You dropped a fire video. I believe it was like 2 days ago. You can let them know about that. Let them know where they can get a hold of you as well, man.
Yeah, man. You can check me out on my channel, K Mega 405. Thanks to our guests, man. Appreciate you coming on, man. Had a lot of fun. Also, you can check me out on the GRG podcast every Friday night after Crossfire. It's 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. You also check out big shout out to Intro Media Gaming. Big shout out to Grown Women Gaming. You know what I'm saying? Got to support the crew. Yeah, GWG. Also, big shout out to BGST and to, of course, here next podcast, man. We'll see you guys next week for a big show, man. Hopefully everything will meet up to everybody's expectations. I know it never does.
I think we got some huge surprises going on for Saturday. Like I know me.
Yes, we do.
We got to talk a little bit more, but it is sounding absolutely incredible. I can't. We got to get this done, Mega. We got to, man.
Oh yeah, we'll get it all figured out. And then also, lastly, I'm supposed to be going on Boom's channel next Friday morning, so we can go ahead and.
I hope you wake up early, man. You got to have coffee. You got to.
Well, yeah. I'll get up. You know what I'm saying? He asked me. I told him I'll do them. I'll hook it up. And so, of course, once we have some room, sometime we could probably bring him and some other people on GRG sometime. If not, then maybe I could just start back doing GRG Uncut again. So it is what it is. But, man, thank you. Vote for K Mega on the gameplay.
Shoot, I forgot. I got to put up the poll.
You got to pull up the poll. Yeah.
Well, dude, with saying, Intro Media, of course, he got GRG, he got GWG. I just made Delilah HD a moderator. If you are still here, I know it's the end of the show. If you are still here, she said something in the chat about being on the inner circle tonight. So if you could just put a link to the to that channel, that would be great. So this way people would know, like right after here, you can go over to the inner circle, check out Delilah. She is a hardcore gamer. She knows her stuff. Talk about common sense and what's going on in terms of gaming and business. You definitely want to check her out.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out to Tick Podcast too, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, Tick, bunch of good guys there. B Money 101 is a co-host of BRAP. He's actually one of the founders of Tick. Yeah, so
nice.
Yeah, no, Cal, all those guys, and actually BRAP's a Tick affiliate podcast. I should have mentioned that too, but good group of guys over there.
Oh hell yeah! I hang out with the Iron Lords. Cool with Cognito. I used to, back in the day, man. I remember I used to work and Anchorman. I used to work a lot with Anchorman. Hard Knock Gamers, all that stuff back in the day. Like it's amazing how far we have all like come from the beginning,
we
right?
game here. Yeah, we game here days. That's how me and Bot met. So yeah, me, him, Anchorman, Kid Smooth. So that's how it all began for us. So yeah, big shout out to all those guys.
I don't remember that name, but let's move on, yo.
Zing.
Yo, Knoxximus. I know you dropped a couple videos. People in the community are really starting to get to know you, starting to realize like you drop entertaining and informative videos. So why don't you let people know where they can check that stuff out, and of course where they can get a hold of you to, go back and forth and talk games, man.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, of course, man, you could catch me right here on YouTube, in Knox We Trust. I'm trying to put out an episode weekly. I can't tell you definitively what day I'm going to drop them, but I'm definitely going to put one out every week. I had a lot of fun doing the last two that I did. So, I everybody that enjoyed it, I'm glad, man. Stay tuned because there's going to be more. If you like it, come get some of that. You could catch me right here with all the fellas at the next podcast. You already know. Knoxximus 1, PSN, Steam, Xbox Live. It is what it is. Enrique, it was good. Pred, Mega, it is what it is, man. I had a great time tonight, man. I love the panel. I love the topics. I love everything that how it went down, man.
And we love having you on, even though you threw my Sunset Overdrive under the bus. I'm gonna look past that, and we're gonna move on. Okay? Yeah. Yo,
vote for Knoxximus. Winning gameplay, baby. Let's go.
He said vote for Xbot, so definitely. Oh no, I'm the winner, dude. I'm not used to that. No voting for me this week.
No, man.
I can sit back and guys, I already lined up some amazing gameplay for the next time we have the gameplay, because we're doing live reaction Saturday, so it'll be a couple weeks from now. But coming live from the Taj Mahal is Predator. Predator, you know the drill. Let them know you were on Crossfire last night. You're here every Saturday. Where else are you going to be throughout the week, and where can people get a hold of you, man?
Never know where I might show up, man.
That is true. That is true. I didn't know you were coming on Crossfire. I was like, Predator!
Yeah, I did Breakfast with Boom, I think the previous Friday as well, but you know me, man, six man of podcasting, so I'll jump on anybody's podcast if they need me. Predator _HOS, Xbox Live, PlayStation, and Steam. Also on YouTube and Twitter, so just hit me up on those channels or anywhere else, or just talk to me in chat when you see me in a podcast.
Nice. And guys, it is Saturday night. Yes, next podcast had the balls to go Saturday night prime time, and the community came out and supports us. Thank you guys so much. It is Saturday though. We gotta get the controllers in our hands. I know I gotta go back to a game I never thought I was gonna get into, and that would be Red Dead Redemption 2. So I'm gonna end the show the way I do every Saturday. We will check you out next Saturday for the next podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Penis Demon.
Yo.